Hi, Valley Vineyard family. Welcome to this devotional on the gift of risk, trusting God. And so this is the Advent season, and I wanted to do something a little bit different and share with you something in this season that can help us think about the coming of Christ, and that's the Jesse tree. And so some of you might be familiar with it, some of you may not. And the Jesse tree is a tradition that talks about the family of Jesus. And so you can make ornaments about the different people in Jesus's lineage, or different people that proclaim the coming of Jesus even. So I want to show you something here. This is our family's Jesse tree. And this is something that I actually, it's a kit that I got. And this is our tree. These are our ornaments. And each of these corresponds with a story in the family of Jesus. The ornaments are all stored in the back here. You can see, excuse me. There we go. So these ornaments are magnets. And as you read the story, you transfer them to here. So we've been putting them one by one. If you can see here, I'm going to pull this off for you. This is the story of Adam and Eve. So that's one of the first stories that goes on. So we found this to be really helpful for our family, to make Christmas more meaningful, to make it more Christ-centered, to be thinking through the Old Testament scriptures that are in the line of Jesus. And so the Jesse tree comes from Isaiah 11:1, which I'd like to read to you. It's actually Isaiah 1 through 3. A shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots, a branch will bear fruit. The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and of understanding, the Spirit of counsel and of power, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord, and he will delight in the fear of the Lord. So this is a prophecy about the coming of Jesus, and it talks about a shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse, and from his roots a branch will bear fruit. And so this is talking about Jesus, the shoot coming from the stump of Jesse. Jesse is the father of King David. And King David, it's always been said that the Messiah will come from the line of King David. So just wanted to share with you that, and also to share with you that these traditions are actually old. They come actually from even medieval times, and I wanted to show you the stained glass window here, which was used for the illiterate to think about the stories in the Bible, because that's how it was communicated. It was communicated through images, through stories that people told, because people weren't able to read. And so there you have it, that beautiful stained glass image. That one comes from Notre Dame, beautiful cathedral. So there's that. And in fact, on the Jesse tree, just to show you that, we did go through the story of Joseph right here, many color code, which is where we're in this devotional series with Joseph. And so one of the things about Joseph that I just want to pick out is that Joseph has gone through a lot of betrayal. He gets betrayed by his family, who don't like him because he is the favored one. And it didn't help that he had dreams and said, are you, I see you guys bowing down to me, or this is a dream where they're all bowing down to me. That doesn't really help him very much. But they are so mad at him that they are willing to take his life and to sell him. So that must be really shocking for him. But I have to think that his father probably told him stories about himself and the struggles that he had, because he was also a favored one and got into trouble because his mother helped him steal birthright from his brother. And so he might have told Joseph a little bit of something about God in his struggles, and learning that, even though I did all of these things and I was the favored one, really it was God, and trusting in God that got him through. So then we see, so there's Joseph being betrayed by his family, and then he gets betrayed by Potiphar, And Potiphar is the Egyptian master he gets after he's sold into slavery, and he prospers. Potiphar, it says in Genesis 39, and Potiphar is so prospered by Joseph's presence and Joseph's management of the household that it says that he doesn't have to do anything except concern himself with the food he eats, which I think is a pretty good deal. I'd like to not concern myself with anything but that. But I have to think that Joseph goes through a different trusting in God, where he thinks, hey, if I work really hard, if I bless this person, then he's going to be nice to me or whatever. But that's not how it works out. So you see Joseph being betrayed and disappointed different times. But we see him in the end recognizing that it's God who brings him through these things. And in Genesis 45, 7 and 8, he says to his brothers who have now come to him to be taken care of, to have some food, because they have run out of food and they're in famine. He says, but God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So then it was not you who sent me here, but God. He made me father to Pharaoh, lord of his entire household and ruler of all Egypt. And he sees that looking back. And just thinking about Joseph and Joseph's story and thinking about how unclear it is at different points in his life, why it is that he's going through these different things. I think that he learns to trust God in the uncertainty and in the certainty. And it brings to me sort of echoes of how I've seen our family trusting God. And some of you will know that our family went to Hong Kong in 2015. And that for us was a real act of trusting God. But it wasn't just that, going to Hong Kong and living in Hong Kong and serving in a community of people who were learning to be like Jesus, but learning with this past of drug addiction. That was a radical move that required trust in God. But something happened there after a year where we felt that we needed to leave. And it was, I can only describe it as if grace for the time was being rolled back. And we both felt individually that God was calling us to something else. And that was also another time of trusting God. And that in some ways was even more difficult, because the first time we knew where we were going. We had a purpose, we had a plan, and we hadn't worked it all out, but we were going somewhere. And here was a year into where we'd seen all these things that God was doing. We'd seen all these miracles, and we had been changed, and other people had been changed, and we'd seen change coming through the things that we were doing. And now God was calling us to seemingly go back. That was just another time of trusting in God. And in fact, it seems to be even harder, because how are we going to explain things to people? So I just would share that as stories of trusting in God. And this time right now, I'm in a season where trusting God for some things that seem to be very clear, and trusting God in some other things that are big that he's calling me into, that are amorphous, that are, I'm not quite sure, that I'm waiting. And was just realizing this and commenting to some friends that God will call us into things that are not quantifiable, will call us into things that we don't see the fruit of immediately, obviously, because we're at the beginning. We see them on the end of it, where we see the fruit of it. But it's a lot like Abraham's call, what the season I'm in right now, where it's you just go there. And all I know is to head out in that direction. And I'm not really sure what it is. And so I just feel like this is a season of waiting for many of us, and to look for God. That's what I would encourage you to do, to think about what it is if I were to trust God. What would I be doing right now if I trusted God and in this waiting season? So I really encourage you to be thinking about that in this time of Advent, because Advent is a waiting time, but it's not waiting as in waiting for things to get back to how they are. They're waiting for what it is that God is bringing, and it's waiting with expectancy. So I just want to encourage you to enter into this time of waiting and to trust him and see what that's like. So let's pray. Father God, we thank you for this Advent season where we wait on you and we wait for your coming. We wait for what it is that you bring in Jesus. And we ask, oh God, that you would help us stay in this season. We ask that you would help us identify the things where we would trust you in, things big, things small, things clear, things not so clear. Lord, help us to trust you and to walk out in your things. Jesus, you are our gift. To be in you is what we need to be doing, and we pray that you would help us to do that in this season. We thank you for the gift that you are to us. We pray that we would stay in you. We thank you. And we pray this in your name. Jesus, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. Amen.
my heart.